I'm 32, and I run a food blog. It started as a side thing, sharing family recipes, writing about the stories behind them, and experimenting in the kitchen. Turns out, people really liked it. Eventually, it became my full-time gig. Brands started reaching out, I got sponsorships, and the blog brought in a solid income. Not by yacht money, but enough to cover the bills and live comfortably. My wife has always been supportive. She even helps sometimes, especially with photography and taste testing. But not everyone thinks my job is valid. My mother-in-law, she's the loudest critic. She's the type who believes a real job means wearing a suit and having a title with executive in it. Every time we saw her, I'd get hit with the same passive-aggressive jabs. Oh, still playing pretend chef. Or, must be nice not having a boss. I usually brushed it off. I knew my wife had my back, and that's all that mattered. But my mother-in-law never let it go. She saw my blog as a hobby, not a business. And apparently, she thought it was her job to fix that. It all started when I got sick. I caught some kind of infection and ended up in the hospital for a few days. It wasn't life-threatening, but it knocked me out. While I was stuck in a hospital bed, my wife stayed with me, making sure I was okay. My blog? I didn't even think about it at first, until I tried to check my phone. I couldn't log in. Password changed. Recovery email wasn't mine. Panic started creeping in. I tried accessing my hosting platform. Same issue. My entire website was gone. My wife was just as confused as I was. But when we called her mom to check if maybe, I don't know, she'd heard anything weird, she laughed. She actually laughed. Oh, that little project of yours? I took care of it, she said. You'll thank me one day. I couldn't even speak. She went on and on about how I needed a reality check and that this would push me to get a real job. Then she suggested I apply for something at her friend's company, a real corporate job, like that was supposed to fix everything. My wife ripped into her, but my mother-in-law didn't care. She hung up, smug as ever. She thought she'd won, but she didn't know one thing. I had backups. Every single recipe, every photo, every blog post. Safe and sound on external drives and cloud storage. And the best part? The domain name was registered in my name. She hadn't touched that. I didn't say a word to her. I wanted her to think she was untouchable. And sure enough, she kept digging her own grave. About 2 weeks later, my wife stormed into the room, phone in hand. Look at this, she said. It was a YouTube channel. My mother-in-law, standing in a fancy kitchen she clearly rented, playing the role of the warm, nurturing cook. The name of her channel? Home with Love. And her recipes? They were mine. Every single one. Word for word. She even stole my little stories about family traditions and cooking tips. The comments were filled with people praising her authentic, heartfelt recipes. She was raking in views and clearly making money. I wasn't even mad. Not really. I was impressed by the audacity. She really thought I wouldn't notice. I said. My wife was livid. We have to do something. Oh, we will. I documented everything. Screenshots, side-by-side comparisons of her videos and my original content, timestamps, the whole 9 yards. Then I called my lawyer. He took one look at the evidence and said we had a solid copyright infringement case. But first, we sent a cease and desist letter. She had 72 hours to take down all my stolen content or face legal action. The fallout was beautiful. Her channel disappeared in less than 48 hours. Every video, gone. Comments? Disabled. She tried to play it off like it was a technical glitch, but people weren't buying it. By then, I had already restored my blog and posted a polite but firm statement explaining what happened. No names, just the facts. People quickly put 2 and 2 together. The comments on her social media were brutal. Stealing from your own family? Classy. Imagine thinking you wouldn't get caught. Guess Home with Love is more like home with theft. Sponsors dropped her. The brand she'd been working with? Gone. Even the kitchen rental company cut ties with her. It was like watching a house of cards collapse. But it didn't stop there. We moved forward with the lawsuit. The case was airtight. The judge didn't take long to rule in my favor. She had to pay damages, and it wasn't a small number. Every penny she made from my stolen work, she owed me. And since she couldn't pay it, she had to sell her house. My wife tried to keep a line of communication open, but the final straw came when her mom called, sobbing. I did it for you, she said. I thought if he lost the blog, he'd grow up. My wife stayed calm. You didn't do it for me. You did it because you can't stand that he's happy doing something you don't understand. My mother-in-law tried to spin it as a misunderstanding, but no one was buying it. My wife eventually cut contact. She said it hurt, but watching her mom face the consequences of her actions, it felt necessary. As for me, my blog is thriving. After the scandal, traffic soared. People stuck around, not out of pity, but because they genuinely like my recipes. I even published a cookbook, a bestseller. My mother-in-law, on the other hand, is keeping a low profile. No social media, no public appearances, just a bitter memory of what she tried and failed to do. And I'm still here, cooking, creating, and succeeding. Oh, and if you ever need a killer lasagna recipe, you know where to find me. And hey, since you've read this far, might as well subscribe. You never know when the next family drama will unfold.